front-end developer at Genesys. And I've been here for a little bit over a year, so I'm still pretty new. 1 second, I got it. Sorry, where is this? Oh, there it is. So now, so why I did it, a lot of people ask me that. You probably know it's because being a developer is way better than being many other things, including a recruiter, and mostly a recruiter after being one. So fulfillment was a big thing for me because we work like how long of our lives. And I kind of dread every day going to work when I was a recruiter. So COVID made me kind of was a wake up call, be like, oh, what are you doing with your life? Do you want to be doing this forever? Or like, you know, you want to change, you want to wanting to go to work. So then I started thinking about paths. Obviously, because I've been a recruiter in the tech industry, I know like how great being a developer is, or being in tech in general. Like it doesn't need to be just a developer. So I thought that would be a good path to go to kind of find a little bit more joy in what I was doing every day. This doesn't want to work. Now we're in the race. So also same long-term goals. I don't know how many of you know how being a recruiter is, but unfortunately the ceiling is pretty low. So there are great recruiters out there who are great at their jobs, but getting to like a senior position, a management position is very hard. And also everything is like your performance is measured in what other people want to do, basically. So if other person wants to take the job, you're doing great. If they don't, then you're not doing so great. So it's hard to plan long-term to see what you want to do. While as a developer, you can kind of see what path you want, choose a language, choose a framework, and kind of go that way. And you can plan ahead and be like, okay, this is what I want to achieve in 5 years. And it's easier to do than when you're a recruiter. I'm not saying if someone likes it, do it, because some people love it. I don't understand why, but then the challenge, I thought not studying would be great. I was very wrong. And if myself, like 10 years ago, hearing me now, she would be very surprised because I was a really bad student. Like I didn't like it until I just kind of grew up, I guess. And now I love it. I think it's very good. Like today, it was great being like, okay, those are all the things I can do. And it's like a new challenge, like trying new things that I've learned from people here. So that's something that I find also really fulfilling and that I like, and gives me a reason to wake up every day and just work and keep working on my own things on my free time, which I never did when I was a recruiter. And then stability. I think that now it's a big topic. It doesn't, like being a developer doesn't guarantee you keeping a job. And we saw that when COVID started, but also if someone's going, the first people to go are recruiters, because if your business is not doing well, you're not going to be hiring more. And what will you keep? People who are creating value, or people who are recruiting for creating that value. So unfortunately, I know a lot of people at the moment that are being let go because they are recruiters. I don't know that many developers that have been let go. So for me, that was also an important reason, because we're seeing it happening again in a different way that we saw a few years ago. So then into the how, it's a bit more exciting. So everyone has a different way of doing things. For me, I just like research. That's one of the parts I really like in recruitment, was just searching for people. So just going into weird places to find things. So I love finding things. So I just started seeing what the options were, what things you could do to change careers. And I started trying, like my partner got me a Udemy course and I was like, okay, I'll try this. Maybe I'll be awful about doing this, but then I liked it. So I kept looking for options. I get really easily distracted as well. So I thought for me, doing like a boot camp or a training like that would be better. So that's what I ended up doing. So I have absolutely, well, I think I'm learning now, but I have no idea of computer science fundamentals, for example. I'm learning as I'm going now. which a lot of people see as a problem. I saw that as a problem as well, but after evaluating other people who've gone, like I know people here that have done the Code Institute as well, you can get a job without knowing all the fundamentals, and then something you can learn, because that's what I discovered as I've been doing this. Also, there are no shortcuts. Someone said today, practice, practice, practice. And that's what it is, unfortunately. You have to practice everything. And it's just frustrating because you feel like there are other things that you might get faster, but unfortunately coding and all of that, it's just like doing it again and again and again and again and again and failing miserably and then doing it again even if you don't want to. But a lot of people think, like I keep seeing, like learn to code in 2 weeks, and it's like, no, maybe you will be able to follow a tutorial, maybe, but you won't be able to be coding in 2 weeks. And like there's no shortcuts. You have to just keep learning and practicing. Then also community. I think that's you all are here today, and me. I think it's a great way to find support and to learn and see like other people experiences, other people like teachings. Is like, for example, when he was like, oh, we didn't do like the slowly starting something, we just did it. Now if I have to do it, I'll be like, okay, I listened to this, I'm going to do it. So you always learn something by coming to these events, by talking to people, by being online on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever you might be, maybe all of them. And then what I discovered is that basically when you're changing careers, you're learning to learn, because when you're going to college, you're focusing on the college, like what college is teaching you, what you're doing. And I did it myself as well. But now I'm like, okay, I just need to know how to do things differently, and I need to learn. So if tomorrow I need to change jobs again, now I know I can do it, which I think is a good thing. And that's why I encourage everyone, like if you're not happy in your job, there's so many years, like 30 years or probably more until we retire, just do something else and learn something new, because you can do it. Just practice, 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 unfortunately. So for anyone who's kind of thinking that, one sec. So for me, the way to grow was like doing things like hackathons, events. For people, maybe they don't know, there are so many hackathons and things happening that I didn't know, like my course provided them, and they were very good at that and creating community, which I really liked. But there's so many things there that are useful for people to learn and to get to know other people, because I think it's hard to start when you don't know anyone as well. I know a lot of people who are coming from really like weird backgrounds and they don't know anyone in tech, and they're like, I don't know where to go, what to do, or things, because that's how you hear about. For example, in this event, I'm sure someone came because someone else told them about it, not because they saw it online. So like the community is there to just keep kind of speeding things, and these events help a lot. And then something that helps, like has helped me, is writing. For different reasons. I think when you write about something, you force yourself to have to learn it to be able to explain it. And sometimes talking about it is easier than kind of putting it down. So I just write for when I find a problem. Like I was writing recently about like async await, because I was like, I don't know what this is exactly. So I use it every day, don't know what it is, what's actually happening. So I just went, read about it a lot, and wrote an article. Might not be perfect, but at least now I know a little bit more than I knew before. And then mentoring, there's will always someone that is more junior than you. So if you can help someone and mentor them a little bit, I think it's a great thing to do. Also because you learn to teach them, because people ask you questions. It's like, I thought I knew what this was. No, you don't know until you have to explain someone. So if you can find someone to help. Also, a lot of people here are very senior, so you probably can help people a lot. And then Discord, Slack. There are so many like Discords and like Slack channels, places where you can go and talk to people. And if you're feeling a bit lost, or you just want to help someone or getting started without too much pressure, it's a great place to to go. And then open source. I just started doing this, and it's very scary. So just find somewhere where you feel a little bit comfortable, because then it's just like what you do. Like if you're a developer, it's what you do every day, but just with people you don't know. And if you are a student, and you've done a hackathon, it's pretty much the same thing. So I just go find something easy, like write the README. Everyone can do that. So just write the README first and use the flow and a lot of things that will help you to then pick up tasks that are way more complicated. And then something people don't talk about, it's not easy. And I feel like a lot of people, and I really understand that, but let's call it like the false positivity. When you are there, it's awesome. Like for me, I'm just like, I love my job, it is great, but like you'll have days where it's not easy, it's not fun, but like people don't talk about it enough. And I think a lot of people just quit and stop doing it because they feel like everyone else is doing great and they are not, but they don't see also like all the work everyone puts in to get to the level they are. And also another feeling I have is like, for example, really senior people just make it look so effortless. And you are like, I've been trying that for like a month and I cannot make it work. And then you get a senior person, it's like, oh yes, you do this, this, and this, and it's done. And you are like, okay. And obviously it is, you are like, what am I doing wrong? And obviously you don't have the experience, and that's something you get with time, but the time hasn't come yet. So you're not seeing, you might be there in 5 years, but obviously you're not like, you know what, I quit because I'm never going to be able to do this. So I think more people should talk about how it's not easy and how they struggle as well, even if they are senior. Obviously the problems are way different for a senior person, but the problems are there still. So let's talk about problems. And then I cried a lot in case someone else did or they still do. I did it. I do it less these days, but I did it so much. And recently I did the same talk and someone came to me and they were like, I cry a lot. I didn't want to tell anyone, but I do too. So I feel better that you that you are saying that you do as well. So I think it's fine. Just let's embrace the bad side of it as well. Um, and then I second guess myself. I don't know if that's happened to you in your career. I think especially if you're a career switcher, you might be second guessing yourself a lot because you might have a good, like I had a great job. I was a recruiter at MongoDB. So the company was awesome, but then I wasn't happy, but I was like, am I going to just throw this away and go and try something? Am I good enough? Am I going to do well? So it's very hard also to convince yourself to do it. Now I'm happy I did it, but just right before this interview, actually, for Genesys, I mean, I was just like, I'm not doing this. I'm just like, I was like, I'm going to do the interview because I said I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a break and I'm not going to, like, I'm going to stop for a while because I was like, I'm exhausted of crying and failing. And then because I did it, I'm here today. So so yeah, second guess yourself, but keep going. And then you're not the only ones. Just talk to people about, I think not enough people talk about it. So I like to talk about it. Just say it, like, it is very hard. And I really like this. So my partner told me about it, and it's just like, you're always constantly going like in a mountain, so you don't see where it's going to go down. You just keep seeing up, and it seems like it's never ending. And then you get to the summit, and you're like, oh well, but then you go down, it's awesome, it's great, and then you end up again in the mountain. It's a different mountain, but it's the mountain all the same. So I think it's good to also remember that we all, it doesn't matter how senior we are, we all go through that in just different mountains, but it is the same situation at the end of the day. So then if you are changing careers or doing anything, it doesn't need to be changing careers. It can be whatever. I'm not a really constant person, but I just realized how good it is, like doing 15, 20 minutes every day. Reading, it doesn't need to be like hands coding or doing it, just reading about it or like articles, just trying to get your head on that. it's better to do that 2 hours in one day, like a lot of people do. Then focus on your own journey. People just tend to, we all compare ourselves with everyone else, unfortunately, but you have your own paths. You have to just focus on that and keep like just following it until you get to whatever you want to be. Then it will change again, but at least you'll be there. And for people like me, I think I'm a senior junior because I've worked for so long that I know like working is working. It doesn't matter what you do. Obviously, I need to learn a lot of like technical stuff, but I know how the flow is working. I know how it's communicating with other people. I know a lot of things. So if you are planning on changing careers, whatever is you worked before, it will be useful anyway. And if you change careers in the future, what you've learned in your current career, it will be useful as well. So it's not like you're throwing it away. So I think my HR background helped me a lot into how to build relationships. I'm great at interviewing as well, like in the personal side of the interviews. I'm always great because I'm like, I know what you want to hear. I'm just going to say it and I'm going to be very smiley. And then you'll be like, cool, we want someone like this in the team. So, you learn on the way, so you can use that. And then define a goal with small milestones. Tech is just massive, and we've seen that today, and it just keeps growing and new things keep coming. So just try to get a goal and then set small milestone. For me, the bootcamp was very good for that because I have like 4 projects, 1 year. That's it. So I focus on each one of them, and it was very helpful for me. And then everyone has a different experience. And I know a lot of people that, or like myself, I think I was very lucky because I was just finishing my bootcamp and I was starting my job here. I know other people take them longer. So, just try to embrace that, and hopefully everyone will get the things whenever they want. But I think it's just important to remember that you have your own situation and you've done your own things. So it might get for you later, but you'll get there. Anyone I know that's been trying to change careers have done it, which it's awesome to see as well. And then for your CVs, this is for everyone. For senior people or more experienced people, I think you'll be fine. But for the junior, so experiment. I'll show what I did with my CV because it was very hard to be like, hey, I'm a recruiter, but I want to be a developer. So I'll show you what I did. So I experimented a lot with that. I changed it a lot of times, and then show off. Like if you've done things, a lot of people don't put it there easy to access. Like I saw that a lot in Mongo, that people would send you a CV and you would have to be digging in until you got to their GitHubs or to their portfolios. And I'm like, just give it to me so I can see it. Because if you have a lot of CVs, you are not going to dedicate that much time to go through each one of them. It's not like that always in software, but it happens sometimes that someone might be like, oh, why they haven't done, like hiring managers are like that sometimes. There's like, oh, they are doing it too complicated. They are not that interested in the job. And it's like, how is that related? Like, what is making you think that, to make that connection, that because they haven't put there easy for you, they don't really want the job? But it is what it is. And then keywords, people tend to use all of them. Don't. Like, because I don't know if you know how LinkedIn works under the hood. It's a database with Boolean searches. So you just say like, I want a software developer or software engineer or a software developer and Java and Spring. So that's all they are looking for. But some people do like massive Boolean searches. So they get a lot of people. And that's why you sometimes get messages of like, you are a JavaScript developer and you get a Java job, and you're like, why? They haven't looked at your profile. You've come up on a search and they just send you a message. So just be mindful. Sometimes it's unavoidable, unfortunately. But if you put everything, you're going to come up in all the searches. So you're going to get a lot of spam. And then if you don't want to be found, like a lot of people don't put anything, so then you don't come up anywhere. So also the senior developer, I've seen that a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Some people, especially in America, do that. It's very hard to find people that way because like I'll be looking for senior, not senior, like you would write. Like, so a lot of people do those kind of things. So if you want to find a job and you want to be found, don't do that, because it's it's not good. And then a lot of people don't put the gaps that they have, just put them in there, because for whatever reason, like if you stop for studying or to take care of your kids or whatever it was, I think it's fine and it's part of you, and it will help you find a company that will be fine with people doing their lives and enjoying whatever it's that they were doing. And then you always have to do a background checks, and they'll ask you why you have gaps anyway, so don't leave them out. And then don't fill up space. I've seen like 6-7 pages CVs. It is great, you've done a lot. Don't just like throw everything in there, because then no one is going to read it, unfortunately. Too long or too short, same. Don't put just where you've worked, say a little bit, like meaningful things of you've done, like if you help like improving performance, or if you made a change from really old stack to new stack, what it's that you did, how you did it, how long it take you, what improvement you made. That's something that will make an impact in wherever you go. The language. I've got so many CVs in random languages, and I'm like, why? Like, you're applying to a job in Ireland, send it in English. So that means people just throw CVs out there without thinking what they are doing, which is not a good thing, because the CVs stay whatever you send them for a period of time, so they'll see that you did that. And then this one, I was just thinking about it. I will never forget though. Someone sent a picture of them with their dog and then a link to their CV, which I have to say, I look at it because I was like, that is great. But then we obviously didn't hire that person. It was just a picture of them and their dog, like him holding his dog, and the link to the like a CV or something. So I will remember forever. Yes. Will we move forward with that person? No. So it's good to try things, but not too like crazy things, because it's just too much. And then for LinkedIn, as I said, I think these days, and mostly for like software engineers, people will be searching on LinkedIn. So I've seen people with really good LinkedIn profiles, people with really bad LinkedIn profiles. And again, if you don't want to be found, don't put anything. If you want to be found, and like, because I know how annoying it is to getting messages that are not relevant to your profile. If you don't put information, people just will try to piece it together, and it might not be what you were expecting from a message. The keywords, just keep it meaningful. And the description, I really like that. And I think it's very helpful for people to see. It's just like, talk about who you are. Like, I remember someone I met that they had on their bio, like that they did like, they were a software engineer, but they did like a PhD in a Spanish random thing. So I was like, I really want to at least tell me what is that you've done with that thing. So we started talking mostly because of that. And then, like, you can start a meaningful conversation that is not just talking to a recruiter randomly who doesn't know anything about you. And also people get to know who you are as well. And then the job titles, as I said, please don't do senior senior developer, because it's very annoying. That or any other random thing that you can think of. It's very, because like, you can get the, I don't know how you call it, the ñ, the letter, you can get it on your keyboard, but it's not like it's not part of the English keywords. So then you cannot search for a thing. It's just very annoying. So don't do it. And then this is my CV and my portfolio. So what I did, I had 2 pages. My first page was this, and my second page was experience. And it was all my like recruiting experience, my HR experience. So I tried with that first, and I was just getting rejected everywhere. So what I did, I was like a personal profile of who I was, the education that was related to what I was looking for. Then the technical skill set. Also, if you can avoid the little bars with like, I know 80% or 70% of something. I just listed the things I learned while I was doing my course. And then I made a portfolio, which I think is very important when you're changing careers or looking for a job, even if it's your first job. And I just made a little I cropped the little card from my page. I put it on my CV, and you can link and it will take you to the actual project. So I just made it as easy as possible for people to be able to find what my work and see examples of my work. And then I just put all of the information that I thought was relevant, like what I was reading, or like that I was part of the hackathons in the Code Institute. And then I made my portfolio. I made something simple just to show a little bit of that is what I had basically. And then, are you an engineer? Most of you are. So be the person you want it. Like, it is very easy to forget. Like, I do that myself, but like when you've been stuck, when you were starting, when you've been like facing issues or problems in the past, be that person that was there to save you. Because I'm sure you were very grateful at the time, and you can make someone very grateful to be that person for them. And you a lot, like all of you have a lot to teach and to show people. So I think if you have it, why not share it with everyone? And you're here, so you like to share. And then a little bit about community as well. So I'm the co-organizer of a meetup in Dublin, in case any of you are there and you want to come. I write in Medium and the Dev too, so I put all the links there in case anyone wants to read or get in touch, because I'm always more than happy to talk to everyone and to help. So questions can be personal or CV related or anything.
Get their hand up, sorry.
Hi, Carolina. That was a great session. Okay, my question, again, from CV point of view, as a recruiter, how do you feel about like when we think about switching a career, most of the recruiters ask, what is your expected salary? So suppose we migrate from some other country to here, so we may not be knowing the industry standards or anything like that. How do we handle such kind of situation? I mean, like if we, is it good that we can say that, no, I am not willing to share my salary? Like, that's my question, yeah.
Yes, so we all been there. So you can always do that and be like, I'll be happy with whatever is that you offer, because I'm not familiar with the ranges there. But that might be dangerous, because they might be offering you they'll be always offering slightly less than you had in the budget, because then they have some room to negotiate. So what I advise you is find people who are at that level in other companies and be like, would you be able to share a range? And if not, like most recruiting agencies or like consultancy firms like Hayes or these companies, they every year they do like a salary review kind of thing. So they have all the jobs, so they do like research in the market where they are. So they might be doing one in like Dublin, in Galway, like you have different cities, so you can see obviously the cost of living is different. So that's a reference. But also like you put the price that you want as well. And I think it's fair being like, this is what I want and that's what I need to leave. And if they can offer it to you, unfortunately it might not be the best place for you, but then depends on your own situation. But I'd say just do some you can always find information, or there's Glassdoor with where a lot of people share their salaries. I always look there as well to see like, okay, what's usually what a person would make here. And LinkedIn is also adding that feature now. It doesn't work great, but you can go and look for job titles in cities and it will tell you more or less how much people are making.
I'm not leaving.
Hi, awesome presentation. You reminded me of the job I applied for with my dog, and I should not have sent that to you. So thank you for letting me know I didn't get the job. One thing that came up when you were going through your presentation was the work that you did in terms of bridging the gap between recruiter to developer. Looking back now, two things. One, was it worth it? And two, given where you are now, what specific change would you make to accelerate that?
Thank you. I'm very happy where I'm now, just because of all like the options that opens when you are in tech. To accelerate that, like I know what I have to do, and that's what I did last year, and it was working my 40 hours and study 20 or 25 hours or 30 hours a week. But that is very consuming of your personal life, unfortunately. So I just decided now, take it easy. I keep studying. I just do like maybe 10-15 hours instead of like 20 plus. Or if I have a day off, instead of studying all day, I just enjoy my day off. But if you want to, and I'm at that point now as well a little bit, I just want to make things faster because I'm late for the party. Like I'm a junior engineer now. And if I continued with my previous career, I would be a senior recruiter by now, probably. So I know what I have to do. I just try to balance that because it was very like, it was hard on my personal, like family, friends, and that to be able to kind of manage those things, also having a job. And also when it's your day-to-day job, at least you have that time to focus on it and learning there. So you don't need to invest all that much after work as I had to, because it was this complete like switch from one to the other.
That was a very good presentation because no, I'm 32 years in telecom industry, and I wouldn't consider myself technical, and I find it extremely, I struggle a lot, and especially telecom industry. The terms and the technology is moving so fast, it's very, very difficult. And then you're dealing with guys, very, very senior guys, and not there's any badness in them, but a lot of them can't explain, you know, the new concepts and stuff, or not explain it in a way that I can understand. You know, but the thing is, you don't have to go to a developer route to get into technical company. I was a developer for a little while, but I was rubbish at it, so it was no good. And you realize that, and I didn't really have the interest. I mean, to become good at it. I knew what I had to do, but I wasn't interested. But when I got into, I did a bit of governance of machine-to-machine specs, which was okay at. But I got into UX for a while. And that's what I would consider UX a person, an engineer. An engineer would be a person that, you know, writes code, knows technologies very well, you know, able to do debugging, that kind of level. I call myself a system engineer, a UX person, a system. And you know, sometimes as UX people, I got quite mad at them because the technical guys, you know, I would call us engineers, and they'd kind of scoff at it. They just see us as graphic engineers. But I went to work with a lot of technical guys for studies because you have to know how the user uses it. And when people came and asked the technical guys writing the studies that I'd be working with, they couldn't answer questions because they didn't know from a user point of view what to do. And they usually came to me because I write all the test cases or the use cases end to end in agnostic, technology agnostic languages. What does the user do? What does the system response? What the user do? So no matter who wrote it, no matter who read it, they should know exactly what I've written. That's a very technical guy or a person that wants to use our system. So I found a lot of times that these really technical guy studies were getting people, it says ask Brian, he'll tell you a simple way how the system and what it, now it was a technical, really technical question, I'd push it back. But I suppose a long rambling thing is that there is different ways to get in technical. You don't have to be a developer. I know that I tried it, I'm rubbish, and I don't want to do it, and I wouldn't be any good at it. But as a UX person, I was a bit better. I had empathy with the user. I wasn't afraid that, and the soft skills as well is an extremely important part of the technical thing. You know, being able to, and as I said, I talk to technical guys all the time, and a lot of time asking maybe silly questions, but I don't mind. And they now know that, okay, Brian's not the most technical person in the world, but when I do on a PO, once I write stories, I want to write them in such a way that the most inexperienced person can read them. So you have that kind of empathy. You realize that people are like me, not that technical, but they still have to know the system. And if they don't know what they're that, and even if I had the best developer on my team and I can't communicate what the requirement is, I'm wasting my time. So I suppose a long rambling way is that if you want to get into technical things, UX, being a UX engineer, what I call them a system engineer, is another very, very good route in doing that. And it's actually, for me, I'm still involved in UX a bit. I got the most satisfaction from a job point of view or a career point of view. I'm not even though not quite in UX anymore, but I still do courses on it. I'm very, very interested in it. So, as I said, if you want to be a developer, UX career is another great way of doing it.
Yeah, that's really true. I've seen so many people that have done a little bit of coding and they're like, I don't like this, but they ended up being like technical, like people who are really good at writing and end up being technical writers or like UX because of all the writing and that empathy you need to have. So I think that's a very good point.
Next week, TED Talk by Strawberry.
Thank you, Carolina. That was a great talk. Thank you for sharing it. I don't have a question, but more so a point, because I went to media arts. I did media arts and design at university, and then I became a developer later on. And it's more the advice for anybody that knows anybody that is thinking about going into tech, or you're thinking about making that transition yourself. The best advice I got from my brother was, it's about attitude, because people can learn anything, but it's how keen they are and how hungry they are and how much interest they show. And as I become more senior, I start to see the differences in people who are, interns or graduate levels who are really keen. They'll stumble and fall over and they'll be okay about it, pick them back up and let them go again. And seeing that difference, that's a real key value that I think we have, because we have a perspective looking into the industry before jumping in, whereas other people take it for granted. And a lot of the points that you said about networking and hackathons and community meetups, I did all that, and that for me was what helped bridge the gap to help me get into the industry. Because otherwise you're thinking, how am I going to compete with 9 months of teaching in Java versus somebody with 4 or 5 years in university with C++ and Java? So just thought it was good to share that too.
Yes, and just while we're confessing, my name is Garth and I have a philosophy degree. Okay.
How many other people, how many other people transitioned into tech? Or something else before they went into development role? That's quite a lot.
A lot of people.
Yeah. I was a cabinet maker. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And I just wanted to ask, I have never been in the other side of, like in the side of recruitment, but I know they have a application tracking system, and like you probably used it, and what kind of pitfalls we should consider as people who are applying. I know that there are some intelligent like algorithms working, like which filters your CV, but what is the main advice you would give to go through that tracking system successfully?
So I used to do a lot of active recruitment, so I would be finding people. So that's why the keywords are very important. But if you are if you're applying to directly to like Workday or any of those, just use doc, don't use PDF. I use PDF in mine because I wanted to have the images, and I was willing to lose some places because like just when it parsing the document, it's just like, I don't know what this is. So it's just like I've got that. We used to use Greenhouse, and I used to get like one page with a lot of random characters because of the format of the file. So you're very safe if you have a doc file, because like it will know what it is and it won't do any strangers. If they say you can use PDF, use PDF. I just think it's probably safer to use because sometimes they use that to get the information and put it on your profile. So the easiest you make the system to do that, the better. But if as a software engineer, you might not need to use that all that much because So I've recruited for technical support, and that was absolute madness because of the people that would apply. So then it's when you need to start considering. If you like, depends on the level of people you would be getting. It's when you start worrying about that. But I did a lot of active recruitment, just reaching out to people, so then I could process that myself. So I would make sure that the files were correctly. But if not, doc files are the safest option.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.